Hello, everybody, and welcome to our goal setting session, Effective Navigation 2022. Well, exciting times ahead. I am really, excited about what the year 2022 has to hold. Hello, everybody, and welcome. Oh, sorry about that. I'm really excited about what 2022 has in store for us. And, like it is my mantra, I always say that, I build, my life and my execution in the year on two things. Two things make, what I do happen by the grace of God. And those two things are, well, number one, prayer, and number two, planning. And those two things I do, as I start the year. So this is, I believe, is it the 8th or the 9th day of the year. And, I'm doing those two things. We've been praying every day, and now we want to plan. In fact, let me say this much. Your prayers can be sabotaged by your lack of planning. Your prayers can be sabotaged by your lack of planning. Jesus said in the book of Mark 11, he says, whatsoever things you desire when you pray, yes, believe that you have them and you have them. Now, when he says whatsoever things you desire, yeah, that means you have to have some kind of expectation or a goal. If you're not aiming for anything, you will hit nothing. Okay, whatsoever things you desire when you pray, yeah, it says that if you pray, you will have them, And so there's something about planning. The Bible also says that in the book of Ephesians 3, verse 20, it says that God is able to do exceedingly above all we ask and we think about. So there's the asking part, which is prayer. Then there's the thinking part, which is about is about what we think, what we plan, what we expect. Hallelujah. Okay, so we are going straight into our session. Just to let you know, those of you who don't know, there are 3 sessions today. Okay, I've been doing this for the last 16 or so odd years, and we usually every year I produce this journal. Some of you might have it, some of you might not, but this is the most effective tool. If you've heard me give the testimony about my son and how he got a first class from Cambridge, his own testimony himself, this is what he used. He's become a master at it. He even has developed, different things that even I don't do, from this. This is also the way he started his fintech company. And, he was traveling the other day, and just before he went, he made sure he came to wake me up early in the morning before he went, because he said, look, Dad, I need my journal. Please, can I get the journal before I leave? He left on the 2nd of January. And so, for whatever it's worth, if you want to, but hey, you can also plan on a piece of paper or on something else. But the thing about this is that I have different templates in here, that you will not have anywhere else. And for those who have had this in the past, okay, there are some new 1 or 2 new things I put in there, that will be very helpful to you. Okay, so by way of introduction, there are 3 sessions. Session 1 is this session right now, which is a free session. I'll just basically start out by talking about the power of doing less to achieve more. Okay, the second session is a session where I will go through this and explain how to use it, and we'll talk about goal setting, and how to break down your goals and make sure you achieve them. The last session is the key session, where I am going to be talking about the power of rituals and routines and rituals. Very powerful. And I'm going to be sharing in that session the things I do personally on a daily basis. So let me give an example. I have a prophetic ministry, and each year I grow. I make a determination to grow in my prophetic grace, as it were. And so what does it take to grow from one level of glory to the next level of glory? how do I move to my next level? What are the things I do on a regular basis? What are the practices? I'm also going to show you, the system I used in preparing in writing books. When I say the system, just basically a summary of daily things, that I do to ensure that I'm able to produce, say, a book a year. There was one time I used to publish 2 books a year. Okay. And I'm going to also show you in that last session 10 things every single person that is a believer needs to do every day if you want to have, if you want to break through in life. 10 things, 10 habits, 10 things. And, I'm going to also show you about, how to achieve your focus, how to achieve your focus. At a later time, I'm going to do a session on finding your focus, but I'm going to show you how you can achieve your focus without distractions. Very, very significant session. So I look forward to seeing you at that session. But let's start our session for now. Heavenly Father, we thank you for your hand upon our lives. We thank you for what you're doing, and we thank you for what you will yet do. We are praying that this year, 2022, will be our best year yet, our very, very best year yet. In the mighty name of Jesus. Give us all the tools and the equipment on what it is we should do, this year, the step-by-step plans, the detailed plans, like you gave Moses for the building of the tabernacle and Solomon for the building of the temple. Show us what we must do and help us to do so. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen. Somebody said they got the planner and they haven't received it yet. Apologies. I'm sure I believe it's been sent. There's been issues with the post in England. But I believe that if you send an email, we can send, I'm sure we should be able to send a PDF version or something on pending the time it comes to you. Okay, we're going straight into our session right now. We're talking about effective navigation. And at this point, this first session, we're talking about the power of doing less to achieve more. I don't know about you, but I don't want to do more so I can do less, I can achieve less. I would rather do less and achieve more. And we're going to look at 2 quick scriptures. Philippians 3:13, and it says, "Brethren, I do not count myself to have apprehended, but one thing I do, forgetting those things which are behind, and reaching forward to those things which are ahead. I press towards the goal for the prize of the upward call of God in Christ Jesus." Okay, he says, I do not count myself to have apprehended or to have achieved. Whatever I've achieved so far, there's one thing I do. I forget the things which are behind, so that they are not distractions. Then I reach forward, for those things that are ahead. Then he says, I press towards the mark. I press. Okay. But the key here is that he says there's one thing that he does. Another scripture I'm going to read is one that we know about, and it's the story of Mary and Martha. But I think it's important to put it in context. It says, Luke 10, verse 38 to 42. Now it happened as they went that he entered a certain village, and a certain woman named Martha welcomed him into her house. And she had a sister called Mary, who also sat at Jesus' feet and heard his word. But Martha was distracted. I want you to underline that if you have that, before you, distracted. Martha was distracted with much serving. And she approached him and said, Lord, do you not care that my sister has left me to serve alone? Therefore, tell her to help me. And Jesus answered and said to Martha, 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 you are worried and troubled about many things. If you have your Bible, also write that down or underline. It said, you are worried and troubled about many things. Distracted, worried, and troubled about many things. Verse 42. But one thing is needed. One thing is needed. And Mary has chosen that good part, which will not be taken away from her. Father, Lord, help us and open our eyes so that we can do the one thing, or the few things that you have called us to do. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. Well, this particular session, pathfinding goal setting for the year is called effective navigation. And I'll show you why we're calling it effective navigation. The word navigate means to move on, over, or through, on, over, or through something like water, air, or land in a ship or aircraft, or to navigate a river. Now, why am I using the word navigate this year? Because I believe that with the circumstances we find ourselves with in the pandemic, going on to its third year, you will find that if you are going to achieve your goals and the things God has put in your heart, you will have to navigate through the pandemic, navigate through COVID-19, navigate through the various restrictions, navigate through lockdowns or no lockdowns, navigate through isolation and all of that. So there are so many obstacles like you will have on a river, or if you're going through a forest, that, you know, in terms of your achieving your goal, it will require some kind of navigation and, you know, and movement around those things. You know, that's what we had to do as a church in 2020 and 2021. We had to keep having services, blessing our people. And regardless of what happened, whether we were supposed to open church or not, we had to navigate through all of that. The word navigate also means to walk or find one's way on or in or across. Like somebody would say, it was difficult to navigate the stairs in the dark. Okay, so we've been going through the years 2021 and 2020 and 21 like as though we are navigating through the dark. It means to ascertain or plot and control the course or position of a ship or aircraft. So with goal setting, we're trying to ascertain, okay, where do we want to go? We're trying to plot and chart and control our course, okay? And it means to move or progress through a logical sequence. And you'll find, especially in the second session, we're going to talk about how to move through a logical sequence, you know, in order to achieve our goals. And it means to direct or manage, yes, a ship, aircraft, or guided missile on its course. Okay, so these sessions are going to tell you how you can navigate, you know, manage or direct your life, yeah, on its course in the midst of the various distractions and what it is happening that's happening around you this year. And for us to do this effectively, it's important to understand the value of today, the value of today. Okay, what is the value of today? But before we speak about the value of today, yeah, you know, I want to say this. Today is the tomorrow that you spoke about yesterday. Today is the 7th of January, 2022. But do you know, in 2002, you are saying, oh, in 20 years' time, I will be so and so. I would like to do that. My question is to you is that, have you become that thing that you said you set in 2022 or 2012 that you said you will become? So when we speak concerning the value of today, yeah, we are saying that today is the tomorrow that you spoke about yesterday. So, you know, today, yeah, this today can be the tomorrow that you are speaking about. Yeah, that is like in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years, I want to be so and so. You can begin to replan your today that you have not become yet. Okay, and then understand that every day, every single day, yes, is counting towards that tomorrow that you want. But remember that you need to do something about it, because you know you will soon find yourself again in another today, which was yesterday's tomorrow. I don't want to confuse you with that, but the bottom line is that every day we call today, yeah, is questioning us and asking us, what about that thing you said yesterday that you will become? You have not achieved it yet. Okay, so in order to understand the value of today, you need to start your life on, you know, there are three things. You know, number one, purpose. You need to, what is the purpose for my life? Okay, so me as an individual, my mission in life, okay? In fact, every Christian, every believer, this should be their mission. But this is my mission and the mission of our church, to make hell empty and heaven full. Okay. So my mission is to fulfill the will of God upon my life. That's purpose. Okay. Yours may be different. But then apart from purpose, you need to have a picture, which is, so the purpose is your why, the picture is your what. The purpose is your why, why you exist and what, your assignment. The picture is your what. Now, when I speak concerning your picture, even though I say my mission is to make hell empty and heaven full, yeah, I need a what, okay, for the end of the year. I need a what for the next, or at the end of 5 years. I need a what or a picture for the end of 10 years. What do I mean by that? Okay, so I'm saying that if my purpose is making hell empty and heaven full, and also pleasing God and fulfilling his will, okay, what is the picture that I want to see in terms of this purpose by December 2022? How many people do I want to have brought into the kingdom of God by the year 2022? Okay, let's take it away from spiritual Christian things. But before that, how is, in terms of my spiritual life, what picture do I see myself of at the end of 2022 in terms of my prophetic abilities, my spiritual authority, my prayer life? What picture do I have? What do I want to see in terms of my knowledge of the Bible? Do I see myself as being a teacher? Do I see myself as being a cluster leader? Do I, those kind of things? What picture do you see yourself as in terms of your wealth building? Do you see yourself out of debt? Do you see yourself, how much would you, as it were, you see yourself having 100,000 pounds saved in your account? So purpose, picture, then the next thing is practices. What are the practices that you need to do, the things you need to do to make sure that that picture becomes a reality? Okay, but the problem is this: we tend to live our lives based on the clock and the calendar. Okay, when we are talking about goal setting and time, goal setting, in order to achieve our goals, we live our lives based on the clock and the calendar. And what do I mean by that? You see, everything is based on okay, there are 24 hours in a day. I wake up, what do I want to do on the 8th of January, 9th of January? I have to have done this, 10th, and that is good. But that is the old system of goal setting, where you're trying to pack more into your day, your calendar, and pack more into your time, into your clock. Okay, but we never consider our energy limitations, and thus it leads us to burnout. So we want to be everything, and many of us are parents. We're parents. Some of us are spouses. Many of us are spouses. Even if you are single, you are many things. You are an employee at work. You are a human being. You're a Christian. You're a worker at church. You are so many different things, and and then you have many other things you want to do. Some people have businesses they are trying to run, side hustles, so many things. Then remember, you're also a child to your own parents. And so there are so many things. And so the question is, how do we navigate through the clutter and the things that clamor for our attention? Then there's social media. There's social media personality. There's many whatever's in your inbox. When I check my inbox today, they're just, I couldn't even check it. So many people. I want to see you. I want to see you. I want to see you. Yeah, even this my trip in Lagos. I mean, I have only a few days here, but the number of people that want to see me. So how do I navigate through that clutter and the clamor for my attention? How do I know who I should be seeing, who I should be calling, so that it doesn't take me out of the things that God intends for me to do and the things that I set that for myself to do? one man called Oliver Berkman said, "What will your life have been in the end, but the sum total of everything you spent it focusing on?" Your life, will be and will have been only the things that you spent it focusing on. So if your life is not focused, you know what? Your life would have been nothing. You'll be scattered. Okay? They say that the sun by itself, just shining, will bring light. But if you take a magnifying glass and you focus the rays of the sun through the magnifying glass on a piece of paper, it will burn it. It will turn the focus rays will turn that light into fire that burns the paper. That's the power of focus. A lot of us are not having significant and definite impact because our lives are not focused. Our lives are scattered. We are just reaching out to everything that calls for our attention. I used to do that before, but thank God I've changed my lifestyle. So how do we, achieve? How do we live a life that does less but achieves more? Okay, how do we live a life that does less but achieves more, rather than living a life that does more but achieves less, which is a distracted life? Okay, so there are three things that we need to do. This is what I'm going to cover in this session. Three things that I'm going to encourage you to do this year to live a focused life that is not distracted, so that you can navigate and effectively achieve your goals and your God-given dreams in 2022. Number one is pause. Number two is prune. Number three is push. Okay. It sounds simple, but we will look at it a little bit more detail. Then in the last session, I'm going to actually focus on it very, very much so in a granular format, in very good detail. Okay. Now, we call this priority management. Priority management, and what is priority management? Priority management is about avoiding minimum value tasks and minimum wage activities. What do I mean by that? Priority management is avoiding minimum value tasks and minimum wage activities. Let me give an example. So here I am. I'm a pastor. I have a prophetic calling and all of that. And so in the course of the day, so just about a week or two ago, my wife and I and our family just moved homes. And in moving homes, well, I have a policy, not just anybody that can come to my house. So I found myself doing a lot of minimum wage activities. A lot of minimum wage activities in the sense of carrying boxes, really even driving a van, blah, 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 blah. But that was needed and required of me to do. But on a general note, those are not things I should do myself on a daily basis. Okay, let me explain what I mean. So cutting the grass is good. Keeping my lawn mowed is very good. Yeah, and it's something that should be done. But it doesn't mean I should do it myself. Why? Because 2 hours of cutting my lawn, is great, but it takes 2 hours away from my prayer time, 2 hours away from my family time, 2 hours away from my study time, 2 hours away from writing books, 2 hours of doing something, a practice that will contribute towards achieving my God-given purpose. 2 hours of being a blessing to somebody in my church, or even if it means visiting or counseling somebody. So while it seems like a novel thing to cut my grass for 2 hours, number one, it's both minimum value and minimum wage. Okay, so for sake of time, if a person, so this is not me now, if a person earns say, let's say, 200 pounds a day. Yeah, that's what the person is worth. In a week, they say earn 1,000 pounds in a 5-day working week. 200 pounds a day, right? Let's 200 pounds a day broken in it, divided by 8, I think is about, is it 40 pounds an hour, something to that effect. Anyway, to cut a long story short, that person, yeah, if they had to cut their grass for 2 hours, they are going to have to, as it were, work for 2 hours. They are losing, let's even say they earn 100 pounds an hour. They are losing 100 pounds an hour, yeah, while they cut the grass. So 100 pounds an hour, 800 pounds a day. They cut the grass for 2 hours, they've lost 200 pounds. Meanwhile, if they hired somebody who cuts the grass for 10 pounds an hour, yes, what they have lost is 20 pounds instead of losing 200 pounds. So that is a minimum wage activity. And I will show you later, you know, sometimes, especially, you know, wives, cooking and all of that, you know, it's great to cook and cook your own food. But if you're a busy person, one of the ways to navigate through that, I'll show you later, is, you know, my wife does this. She cooks many times. I really love her food. But because of the busyness of life, she gets a caterer to, you know, she orders rice, stew, various things that we normally eat. And that is what you call priority management. Because while we would love to eat her food every day, the food she cooks, she's done it in such a way that she is more effective. Yeah, we are happy with everybody's happy with the food that the caterer makes. We all eat it. But guess what? She's taking herself out from being a cook 24/7, yeah, to being a wife and a mother, which are more priority, higher priority and have more value, as it were, than cooking herself. Okay, so that's just a brief example. So how can you do less? How can you do less to achieve more? Okay, so I use that example of my wife. So, you know, because the higher priority thing, the higher value thing is, you know, to spend time with her husband, her family, and spend time in prayer. She also, you know, we also hire a cleaner, and I'll talk about that later on, you know, to do those. So you may love cleaning, and my wife does love, you know, she wants to do it herself and all of that. But then you see, if you give time to minimum value and minimum wage activities, what will happen is that the higher value and higher wage activities are going to suffer. Okay, and then you will not achieve those goals. So how then do we do less to achieve more? Number one, the first thing is to pause. I want you to write that write that down. Say pause. It's very important. Say pause. Write it down. Say to yourself, pause. That's the most important thing. Make sure you type it in the chat box. Do that right now. If you're hearing what I'm saying, and it's something that you're going to do, make sure you type it. They say a writing hand, yeah, is much more, yeah. A pencil is much more than the most effective mind. So I want you to write it in the chat box right now. I'm going to do the same. Say, write pause. Pause. Thank you. I'm going to write it in capital letters because it's very significant. Pause. Okay. Pause. Every single one of us must pause. And what does that mean to you and I? Essentially, there are 3 things that, you know, this means. Okay. And I'll describe those 3 things in a short while, you know, but I will first read the scripture because I'm a believer. Okay. It says, I will stand my watch and set myself on a rampart. Please, I want to encourage you, if you are on here, can you just copy the link and share it with a friend? You know, this is a free session, so share it with a friend right now. Tell them to join. Let their 2022, you know, be an effective and a productive one. Let that be your gift to them. Be a blessing to them. Okay, so it says, I will stand my watch and set myself on the rampart, and says, and watch to see what he will say to me. Did you see that? I will stand, my watch, and set myself on the rampart and watch to see what he will say to me and what I will answer when I am corrected. Then the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain on tablets, that he may run who reads it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it will speak and it will not lie. Though it tarries, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. Now, why is this important? I read that scripture to tell you it's very important for you to pause, at the beginning of any season. So we are starting a new year. Most people have continued to do what they are doing, what they were doing, just the same thing, cooking, cleaning, lawn mowing, doing this, doing that, visiting friends and things like that. Listen to this. You cannot expect new results in a new year by doing old things, the same old things. So the first thing you want to do is pause. That's why Habakkuk says, I will stand my watch, which means I will stop everything and then go and set myself on a rampart. I will go on a retreat. I will take a few days off and just stop. Another word for pause is stop. Stop and wait and see and watch to see what God will say to me. This is so significant. This is the secret of my life. I pause regularly. Now, when we pause or stop, these are there are three things that you want to do when you pause. Number one is crystallize. Number two is analyze. And number three is revitalize. Number one is what? Crystallize. I hope you're taking notes. Number two is analyze. Number three is revitalize. Please, if you have a friend, you have a family member who has been saying, oh, I don't like what is happening in my life. I see it's like my life is in patterns, and they're asking you to come and introduce them to someone who will help them break a curse over their life. You know what? Send them this link now. Some of the things that people talk about that they think are curses and things are actually not. I'm going to deal with this today, and tomorrow. The sessions today and tomorrow's service is going to address some things. There are some things that are repeated cycles and patterns in our lives of failure that are not curses. They are just a lack of prudence. Okay, so to pause means, we're going to deal with three things: to crystallize, to analyze, and then the last is to revitalize. Okay, what does it mean to crystallize? To crystallize means to, in a sense, formulate or to, clarify. Before you do anything, you want to spend time, this year. I say, usually I do not leave my house the first week of the year. I don't. I mean, the only reason I'm out travel today, it's a rarity that I would travel on the 3rd of January and go to another country. Yes. But what helps me is that I'd already started planning from September. Yeah, but I still need to go back and find time to sit down and do these things that I'm talking about. Okay, actually having this session is helping me. What does it mean to clarify? Okay, it means you need to clarify what is your purpose. At the beginning of every year, you need to go back and say, what is really my purpose in? Why do I exist? It sounds, mundane, but it is your purpose that is going to be the passion or the driver for anything and everything you want to do. Okay, what is my purpose? What is my purpose? I've told you that my own purpose is to glorify God, and I'm going to do it by making hell empty and heaven full. That's just a broad whatever of it. So that everything I do, and the reason why this is important, in choosing what it is you should do on a daily basis, it is your purpose that will be what you will use to navigate. There's something called the true north on a compass. The true north always points north. And, anytime a ship is on the sea, they use a compass, north is always north. It remains north. So if you are supposed to be going north, and the compass is saying the arrow is turning east, It's showing that you are living your purpose. You are living your direction. So you correct yourself and come back to it. So let's go back to what I was talking about. My purpose is to glorify God and to make hell empty and heaven full. So even if I love cutting grass, yeah, or I love carrying boxes and all of that, you get, if 2 hours of my time cutting grass will not fulfill that purpose. Yes, my wife will be happier if the grass is cut. But is there another way I can get the grass cut, make my wife happy? Yes, without, and the grass is cut without me cutting the grass myself. Because that cutting grass is not achieving my purpose or my focus. Yeah, it's not contributing to making hell empty and heaven full. It's not contributing to, and you will find that apart from purpose, there's focus. So the first question is, what is my purpose? And the other question is, what is my focus? So this, your focus, can be looked at from a broad level to granular level. So like I said, my focus is, my purpose is to glorify God. Yeah, and one of the ways I glorify God is by making hell empty and heaven full. That's, another way I glorify God is by being a valuable and a wonderful husband to my wife, building a great family. That's one focus too. Yeah. Another focus is being a great father to my children. That's another focus. Another focus of glorifying God is to have a healthy body, fit, that God can use to his glory. That way I can live longer and do more for God. Yeah. So the question is, what is your purpose? And then what is your focus for this year? What is your purpose? And then what is your focus for the year? Yeah. So apart from my focus of, winning more souls and all of that, another major, focus for me for the year, it has been since 2022, is to be healthy and fit. To be healthy and fit. Okay. Why? Because I noticed the older that I get, the more propensity for, and listen to this, with COVID-19 has shown us that health is truly wealth. And those who ignore their health will suffer. Okay. So amongst other things, apart from my spirituality, another major focus for me is my health. Okay. For this year. Yeah. And then, so for you too, can be family, can be your finances and all of that. And so it's important for then I said your objective, we'll talk about that, in the other session. Decide where you want to go. Clarifying is that before you hit the year and say this year I'm going to have a year of more and more. Decide the more you want to see in the year. I want more health. I want more fitness. I want to win more souls. I want to be a better, I want to be a better husband to my wife. I want to be a better father to my children. Okay. And so when you establish this, what would happen is this, that everything that you do or everything that comes your way and clamors for your attention, you judge them by those things. We look at that. Productivity is not about getting more things done, but about getting the right things done. The mistake that we make, the earlier time management model is that, okay, how can you pack more things in your day? No. The present model, the most effective model is, how can I do less things, but more of the things that achieve my focus on my purpose? Okay. And before you can do this, we always have to start with, yes, your purpose doesn't change. Your purpose never changes, but your focus can change. Yeah, your objective can change. The purpose never changes, but your goals, which is your objectives or your focus, can change. Okay, always, so by the time I'm healthy and fit and I've gotten that under the box and I'm at the place where I know that, hey, I'm not at risk or whatever, I'm very healthy, then I can find a new focus, which might be get out of debt and all of that. So always start with who you want to become before you plan what you want to do. Did you hear what I said? Always start with who you want to become first before you plan what you want to do. And so, what do you want to be or do in 2022? What do you want to be, become, or do in the year 2022? So, there are three things: be, do, and have. Okay, but it's first of all important to say, I want to be this. So these are some of the few things I want to become more of. This is my year of more. I want to become more of a man who is devoted, a man who is devoted to Jesus. Yeah, more passionate about him, more desires of him. A man who loves his wife. Yeah, passionate about his children. A great pastor with a growing church, a man that is prudent financially and healthy. These are some of the things. These are some of the things I want to become. So these things are my picture, okay? I can picture a man, and some people do something called a vision board. Some people, there are different things they call them. And so you can cut out pieces of yourself and put it on a board of a man praying, a man who's passionate and devoted to Jesus. You can cut out a picture of yourself and your wife, as this is what I want to be. A man that loves his wife, is loyal to his wife, faithful to his wife, committed to his wife, and makes his wife happy, as it were. And then you can cut out a picture of yourself parenting your child, as it were, a man that is passionate about his children and raising his children, a great pastor with a growing church, and put a picture of a large church. The pastor with the largest church building in Nigeria, 100,000 members in Abuja. He said when he first started, he cut out a picture of a large church, and he put it on his mirror. Okay, so what do you want to become? So, there are things like, as a result, so what is your focus then? Which means your focus this year could be to get a job, a high-paying job, to get out of debt, to earn more money, to lose weight, to have better relationships. So that is Crystallize. You should not launch out into life in 2022 without first of all sitting down to Crystallize. If you have already started running without doing that, after this goal setting session, set aside a few days, even if it means taking leave, to do this. Why? If you don't do this, you will not be able to determine what to say no to. You will say yes to everything. Okay? The next thing you want to do, apart from Crystallize, while you pause, is to analyze. Okay? Because the whole idea about this is about being effective navigation. And the question, so when we say analyze, you are also thinking evaluate. And so we have established where you want to be and what you want to do, or what you want to have by the end of the year, and you have a picture of that. Yes? So what you want to then now do is analyze, where are you now? Okay. I want to be a more devoted follower of Jesus Christ, passionate. Where am I now? Well, if you are honest with yourself, am I really committed? Do I really, am I really devoted? Does the devotion show in my daily activities? Do I read my Bible daily? Do I pray daily? Do I love what he loves? Am I, do I tell the truth all the time? Am I still stealing? Am I still lying? Am I, those kind of things? Am I still sinning? So so you need to be honest with yourself. They call it a situational analysis. Okay. And then in terms of, I want to get out of debt. So how much, analyze means how much debt do I have now? How much debt do I have now? And how much by the end of the year, what do I want to see in terms of is it half out of debt or fully out of debt or whatever it is? But more importantly, with analyze, is to say, what top 3 things have worked for me in the past in achieving this particular goal? What top 3 things, from last year have worked in the past in enabling me achieve this particular goal I want to achieve? Yes. So let me use different examples. In terms of, I want to be a better husband to my wife, I need to go back and analyze, yes, and perhaps maybe ask her, better still, what are the top 3, what are, from last year and the years prior, because I want to be a better husband, what are the 3 activities, that, I have done that and did consistently last year that worked, and the point is that you want to write those things down and keep doing them, So if it is in terms of my health, I started this healthier journey and fitter journey from January 2020, December 2019, January 2020, and when I started it, I mean, I had whatever to lose this amount of weight, this and that, and all of that. Now, between then and now, I will tell you, it's not everything I started out trying to do that I have done. I've done effectively. So, but I can tell you what are the top three things that I have done in trying to be healthier and fitter that have worked. So far. Well, one of the top one is by consistently taking my vitamins, which was I never used to. And today I take about 16 to 18 vitamin supplements, so vitamins and mineral supplements every day. And I've done that, successfully for the last 3 months, 3 to 4 months, and I'm seeing the results. So that worked last year. Then I started going on walks. Okay, I started going on walks, and then what's the third thing? I do more regular medical checkups. So those are 3 things that I've done that are working. So what do you do with the 3 things that are working? You keep doing them. That's going to be part of the things that you keep doing. That you do more of. Now, in terms of the church and the ministry, we want the church to grow more. Remember, make hell empty, heaven full. So I asked the question, what are the 3 things that worked last year that brought growth? And so when I look at it, clearly, one of the biggest is our crossover service. So it's something that I need to make sure, because it comes annually, that we plan towards even from the beginning of the year. Another thing that works very well is our super evenings, super Fridays, and all of that. It brings people into it. And then another thing that works is our small groups, clusters. Those are things. So those are things that you want to keep. Those are the areas of priority. When you're doing your priority management, those are the things you want to make sure you keep doing. Okay. Then you want to also write, what are the 3 things that have not worked for you in the achievement of these things in the last year or so? What are the 3 things that did not work for you? Okay, it's important to write those things down. The least effective. So I'm actually going to go through my business, and do an analysis of my business, as in, empowerment initiatives. That's my training and coaching outfit. And look from the finances and whatever. What are the 3 areas that brought in the most income and profit? And still, what are the ones that brought in the least? So the top 3 and the bottom 3. You keep doing the top 3, because that's what's bringing the increase. And keep and then do less or don't cut out the bottom 3, because those things, the courses that bring in the most income that I do, and the ones that bring in the less and have the less fruit, the ones that are bringing the most, it is the same amount of time, whether I'm preaching on goal setting or whether I'm speaking on prophetic dreams and all of that, is the same amount of time, regardless of the topic. So if this particular topic is not bringing the impact or the income that is required, then I have to cut it off and focus on what is doing, So I'm already going through my business in my mind, even without whatever. I know the things I'm going to cut off next year. I know the things I'm going to cut off. Do you know what? I'm going to analyze that whether by next year I would continue doing this goal setting seminar, or maybe I need to do it in a different way. Okay? One of the three things that takes a lot of my time, even though I can do it, is dream interpretation for people. They send me, I get emails, and all of that stuff, So me doing those things myself, it's not that I'm called, I do it and I'm whatever, but I have to find a better way. So what are the three things that, that did not work for you in achieving your goals or your focus? So I will give another example in terms of my health. So we have a treadmill, we have a cycling bike, then gymming, and those things didn't work, at least in the last whatever. So it's either of two things. I have to find another way, and I will show you in the third session. Yeah. So I'm not going to junk gymming altogether, but it didn't work for me last year. So I have to find another way of being fit. Yeah. Since, going to the gym, maybe it's I have to find another way of being fit, because fitness is important. All right. So we're still on pause. Pause is crystallize, analyze, and the last is revitalize. I actually think this last one should come first. Yeah. But I just did it in a way that this last point should come first. Revitalize is the same as rejuvenate or rest. Rest. Listen to this. When they say in the scriptures, physician, heal yourself, that is my look. I have just continued, non-stop, from moving house, which it took a lot, its toll, to crossover service, Sunday service, bang, right on the plane, came, and every day for 3 days at the conference. I'm now doing this goal setting session, blah, blah, blah. 3 sessions. Every day I'm doing prayers, online, Instagram live, and then tomorrow Sunday service, on and on and on. Then I get back on the plane. I have to schedule rest. It is not, when we say pause, if you don't pause, there are people who, I've told you about pastors who had a heart attack. 2019 into 2020, 2019 into 2020, a pastor preached. They showed it at his crossover service, December 37. He preached. He preached his crossover service message, went home, slept, and he did not wake up. So when we say pause, so some of us will say, oh, look, I have to do this, I have to do that, I don't have any time to do this, I don't have any, so and so. When we say pause, you have to pause, or life will pause, will put a stop to your life. God forbid. The other reason, apart from health purpose, for pausing, another reason is you need to, as aware, there's something about stress. When you don't rest, you become stressed. And stress multiplies if you are not in the center of your expertise. Stress multiplies if you are not in the center of your expertise. I give, so there are 2 ways, stress multiplies when you are not at the center of the area of your expertise. This is why it's important to, I'm going to do a session, this is in another few weeks, called Finding Your Focus. And when I say finding your focus, I'm talking about, in that regard, I'm talking about finding your assignment, what you are called to do in this life. So if you ask me to do a job that has to do with administration, accounting, it will multiply my stress because that's not the area of my expertise. Yeah. But if you call me to do anything prophetic, I'm energized. Yeah, I'm energized. So apart from resting, yeah, as in pausing and stopping, you know, we are energized by doing the things that we are passionate about, we are gifted for, and we are called to do. Okay? So, right. Thank you. So when we talk, so when we said, somebody said the goal setting is being done differently by me, this is actually more time management and energy management and priority management. The second session is where the goal setting session is at, the real planning, and it's going to be done with my book, yeah, and the book has, you know, different templates to it, yeah. It has yeah, so that's where we really get into the goal setting session, and yeah, it has different templates, you know, which we will use, which will fill in the gaps and all of that stuff. Okay, so that's where the goal setting really happens, you know. And okay, for those who are wondering what is happening, so we'll still get to the goal setting in the session, next section. All right, so the next thing is, we've talked about pause. That's the first thing. And under pause, we said you crystallize, you analyze, and then you revitalize. So we move on from pause, and we are now going to, we move on from pause. Are you still there? Okay. We move on from pause, thank you, and we move to prune. To prune. If you are going to be effective at navigating and executing your goals, how do you get the book? You get the book by going to, somebody please put on the link where you can get the journal from. Okay, and I think if you please quickly put on the link for the journal so that those who want to pick it up can pick it up. All right. So prune is the next and the most important thing. Pruning means to cut. To cut. If you're going to be effective, yeah, okay. It says in John 15, verse 1-5, I am the true vine, and my Father is the vine dresser, or the vine dresser. Every branch in me that does not bear fruit, he takes away. And every branch that bears fruit, he prunes. Another word for prune means to cut off, that he may bear more fruit. You are already clean because of the word which I have spoken to you. Abide in me and I in you, as the branch cannot bear fruit of itself unless it abides in the vine. Neither can you unless you abide in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. He who abides in me and I in him bears much fruit. For without me, you can do nothing. This scripture verse is my scripture verse for the year, because this is the year of more. Okay, and even though I bore fruit last year, God wants me to bear more fruit this year. And the way you can bear more fruit, the only way is to cut something away, is to prune. You cannot bear fruit if you do not prune, more fruit rather. You have to cut something away if you're going to be effective. You have to cut something away if you're going to be effective. And apart from being effective, you have to cut something away if you're going to ensure you're not distracted from the important thing, which is connecting to God, abiding in him. Yeah. And it says, watch this. If you don't cut a branch away that is not bearing fruit, God may have to eventually cut you away. Why? Because if you keep pursuing, the many distractions. Oh, I have to do this, I have to do that. Then what will happen is that you will be taken away from your real calling, which is to abide in him. Okay. Remember, that's what with Mary and Martha, that's what we spoke about. Mary and Martha. Mary was complaining, Martha was complaining that Mary is whatever about, she's not helping me out in the kitchen. She's not helping with the cooking. She's not helping with the cleaning. And then the Lord said, look, all those things that you are doing will not count for anything in eternity. Why don't you get a cook? Why don't you get a cleaner? And look, I am not always with you. And just sit down and do what is most important. Okay. So for me, when I'm talking about pruning, there are three things. The question is, what you don't do is as important as what you do. So I get many requests. I get so many requests to preach here, to do this, to do that, to come for one meeting, to come and do that. Yeah. And those things, like I said, they are distractions. And, there are things that it brings many things that make me trouble over so many things. And so my question is, my saying yes is as important as, my saying no is as important as saying yes. I need to know the things I need to say no to. And the things I say no to are the things that tamper or distract me from the most important thing, which is my devotion to God, my time with God. I guard that jealously with all my life. It does not matter who you are or what you are. There are certain things I'm going to show you in my third session that I do every day, and I guard them with my life. I protect those things. Yes, on a daily basis. Why? Because that is my source. You can tell me that, oh, they're about to take my house, but listen to this. I will not leave the presence of God. That's a priority for me. And so I manage it. And then if you tell me to come and look, I traveled here for this WAFPEC conference, yeah. But normally the first week of the month, like I said, of the year is priority. It's time to crystallize and things. Unless, I got a clear word from the Lord that this is what he wanted me to do. Go for this conference because it adds to your purpose. It's going to add to your assignment. It's going to help people, blah, blah. But you know what? It is, but all I did was defer my 1 week of pausing. Okay. Very, very, very important. So it's not that I did without it. I'm still going to do that. So under prune, yeah, there are three things. You need to decide. Prune, those things you will remove, the things you will remote, and the things you will refer. Okay? Remove, pruning or cutting. What will you remove? Remove, remote, refer. Remove, remote, refer. So let's look at this very closely. When we say what are the things that you will remove from your life, what are the things you will eliminate? We've already spoken about some of those things. What are the things that you're going to cut away from, the things that you do? Could it be social media? Even if it means, not cutting it off altogether. Maybe you spend 3 hours a day on social media. Look, maybe you want to prune it down to 30 minutes a day so that you can gain 1.5 hours for prayer and Bible study. Yeah. So you have to look at things critically while you are pausing and say, okay, what are the things I'm going to cut away, cut off? Could it be, phone calls that you make? Yes, there's a friend or there are people that you choose with, or where you go out every evening and you hang out with the boys or hang out with certain people. What about Netflix? Yeah. And then these are actually the mundane things. I'm going to show you in the third session. Yeah. There's something I'm going to discuss called the four levels of effectiveness in the third session. And in that place, I'm going to be speaking about even on your job, what it is that you are doing, where you are effective at. There are 4 different levels of effectiveness. And there's level 1, there's level 2 effectiveness, there's level 3 effectiveness, and level 4 effectiveness. And, you know, if you are really going to be effective, you need to cut out level 4 altogether. Yes? And if possible, cut out level 3 and maybe just focus on level 1 and on level 2. And at the end of the day, listen to this, if there's no time at all and you really want to navigate, stay on level 1 alone, because those things are mission critical. Those things are mission critical. Now, what does that mean? Okay, so we don't have the time to, I'm going to talk about that in the last session, you know, but let's talk about remove. What are the things you need to remove? Just a simple example for sake of time, because we need to, you know, move on to the next session shortly. Never, an example is, you should never make a phone call when a text will do. Did you see that? It's very important to take note of that. Never make a phone call where a text will do. I've learned that from my life. If you are a busy person, I make that decision every day. Never make a phone call where a text will do. Why? When you make a phone call, listen to this. That is where you, hello, how are you? Oh, how's the family? Oh, did you sleep well? Blah, 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 this and that. What a text would have done in 30 seconds of creating the text, yes, and the person will respond back in a few seconds or minutes and all of that. A phone call can take you into 30 minutes of discussion that you never planned on doing. I still made those decisions just before this. I told you, I've been working hard every day. You know, I haven't gone out of my zone. I haven't gone visiting any. I'm just from conference to hotel room. I haven't seen my family members. I haven't gone out to see anybody. Yeah. Why? So the same way, when you make a phone call, I have found out that I've messaged my family members, but I haven't even picked up the phone to call them. Yeah, because, you know, until I finish my focus, then there's going to be time for my family. You know, then there are also people, even office days. You know, I will not make a phone call unless a text will not do. Yes. You know, one thing I thank God for, and I need to use it more, is voice messages. Oh, WhatsApp has done us a big favor. That, okay, I also find it hard typing, you know, and there are some things you want to communicate and put your emotion in and all of that. And so a voice note is a good thing. So this is just an example. And in the third session, I'll show you there are more things you want to eliminate. Okay. And so a voice note, yeah, is a great way of eliminating a phone call. Yeah. It saves you the back and forth and all of that. And you have your message communicated. The other person can send you a voice note too. Okay. But there are times a phone call needs to be made. You want to speak to the person live, blah, blah, blah. So it's not that I don't make phone calls, whatever I do, but there's just so much going on that, you know, a voice note will help. Yeah. Number 2, under cut or prune, is remote. What are the things you want to, you know what it means to remote? That's to make, you know, instead of going to go and press the television channel and change the channel, use a remote control. What are the things you want to remotize, for want of a better word, or automate? These are the things that I would call, what are the things you want to make rituals or make a routine? There are some things that you have to see, you know, you need to create a system that protects your focus. So I'll give a brief example. I have to return so many mails, so many emails, messages, and all of that. You know, that there are some things, you know, and so each time somebody asks a question, I have to draft the email again, draft it from the squad and think. It takes a lot of time. But from my interactions with people, generally, there are some frequently asked questions. Companies do this. They have frequently asked questions. So there are ways I've responded to them before. Yeah. And so many times what I do is, when this general, oh, how do you hear God's voice? How do you do this? How do you do that? How do you do that? Some of them, I put it, I refer them and say, go and pick up my book. I've written it in a book. How do you hear? I've talked about 10 ways you can hear God's voice. Things that you remote, it means that, instead of me sitting down and explaining, number one is this, number two, I've already written it in a book. So I find that at the end of every service, people come to me and say, oh, please, I had a dream, pastor, blah, blah, blah. I tell people, don't tell me your dreams on a Sunday after church. They always come and say, I had one. Do you know how many people have dreams every day? Some have 3, 4. Then by the time you are telling me your dream, I'm saying that it can take me 20, 30 minutes. I'm not joking. So I tell people, do not explain your dream to me. I'm not saying I will not interpret it. If you want me to interpret it, and I don't interpret everybody's dream but send me an email with the dream. That way it is automated. And then that dream is also documented. Excuse me. So if that dream is a prophecy, it's actually documented. And then you know what? In my time, I then read the dream. But then another way I automate things is that I say, I have a dream book. Yeah. Rather than me interpreting your dream, you read the book and it would explain what it means. That's what it means to do things remotely. Okay. And there are many examples, other examples. I would, on the third session, I would give other more intricate examples of that. So that's a way to automate or remote. Like I said, remote is you are not there, but the thing is working. You have created a system where the people's needs are being answered, but you are not the one doing it yourself. So you are not eliminating that thing. Yeah, dream interpretation is important, but I don't have to be the one to interpret that dream. Now, I don't have to listen to this dream after church for 30 minutes. Yeah, because there are other people standing and waiting for me. Then the third thing is to refer. Yeah, so you are cutting these things out of your life by one, removing it altogether, remoting it or making it remote. Yeah, the third thing is to refer, which means you delegate. You give it to somebody else. Yeah. Never make a call or a visit when someone else can do it for you. Never make a call or visit when somebody else can do it for you. Mothers, don't go upstairs running to get something when your child can do it. I know your teenage children, are busy on their phone and whatever, but listen to this. We need to train them. If not, we will get exhausted. Yeah. Never make a call or do a visit or do a task when somebody else can do it for you. And some people can do it for you happily. In my house move, one of the things that I did, I started off carrying the boxes by myself. I just thought that, there's somebody that I know who is close enough to me, blah, blah, who will help out. When I called him, he said he would do it. Do you know what? He was very happy to do it. He actually said he will come back. When do I need him again? Blah, blah, blah. Because apart from him helping me, part of it was he had time, he could spend time with me, which is a rarity. He could ask his questions, while we are both packing books and whatever. And do you understand? So again, there's the issue of, there are some people, who that task that is delegation is not dumping. Okay, which is what referring is. Delegation is not dumping. It is finding someone willing and able, qualified and competent. Willing and able, qualified and competent to do the task. Yeah, willing and able. I'm not great at, what's the name? I'm not great at accounting, all those things, filing and all that. Yeah. So what do? Delegate to a PA. I'm not good at booking appointments, and it is either that person is good at it, or they are competent at it, or that they are paid for it. Yeah. There are some things called virtual assistants. You don't have to be a rich person, and virtual assistant, if you run a business, can take your phone calls, can take your inquiries and all of that, and you don't have to pick up the phone all the time. So that's what pruning is all about. Then the last bit, which is going to be the shortest bit. Okay, before I go there, it's important to understand the power of reduction. We are preoccupied with low value activities. Some people call that fake work. It's not real work. You think you are working, but it is actually low value. Yeah. When you can do more by achieving less. What you can do is always the enemy of what you should do. That you can do anything and do everything doesn't mean you should do it, because it will become the enemy of what you should be doing. Like I said, where the priority is spending time with God, what you can do that, I can do this, will take you out of what you should do. The last point is push. So we said 3 P's. The first is, do you remember? Pause. Second is prune. Third is push. What is push? Push is now that you have crystallized, you've analyzed, you've revitalized, you have removed, you have remoted, made remote, and then you have referred. Now, what should you do? Push. Act. In Philippians 3:13-14, it says, brethren, I do not count myself to have apprehended, but one thing I do. One thing I do. Forgetting those things. So after you have done all of these things, you are going to have a list of all the things that you are supposed to be doing, and you want to do. That's what we're going to talk about in the third session. I'm going to give you my personal list of the things I do daily. Yeah, that makes me effective. I think about 10 to 15 things that I do on a daily basis. So that helps. So I have, and so on these things, there are 3 things as well. The first is establish, second is enlist, and then the third is embark. Establish, enlist, and then embark. Now, what is establish? That just what I said to you. By the time you come out of your pause and crystallize phase, by the time you come out of your pruning phase, you will come up with a list of things. Yeah, 10, 20 things, or 10, 15 things that you will do daily. Yeah, and you must not fail to do. Yeah, and you've cut out the things you should not do. So you want to establish those things. What are they? And then what you want to do is that, which is you consolidate on those things. You keep doing those things. Yeah, but you want to establish them. Then the next thing you want to do is enlist. Okay, enlist means out of these 10, 15 things, who can you enlist to enable you to do those things? Who can you enlist to help? It's called the power of leverage. Yeah, who are the things that are doing? Some of these things are for me, staff, my key leaders. Yeah, who will facilitate or enable these things, happen? Who are the people that will make it happen? Who can you enlist, or what can you enlist to ensure? That speaks of designate. Yeah, so establish is to consolidate. Who can I designate some of the fulfillment of these tasks to? But remember that they are your priorities. And then the last is embark, which means having done all of these things, now do it. Now do it. Activate. Don't waste time. Do it. And those are the things we're going to talk about in the third session. What it means to do these things regularly. And then at our Sunday service tomorrow, I'm going to actually build on all the things we've spoken about here, but look at it especially from a spiritual viewpoint. Well, that comes to the end of my session, the first session. Remember, we're going into session 2 and session 3. Session 2, deals with this book. In this book, apart from the calendar in the book, there's a section where I talk about what is your purpose. I do something called future thinking, which is the 7 questions you want to ask in life. And part of the 7 questions you want to ask is, how old will you be? You know, we're talking future in 20 years time. Where will you be? Okay. How old will you be when you are 20? 20 years time. Okay. I will be 72. Who do you want to be then? What kind of character do you want to have? You know, that's your character. 3, what would you have accomplished in 20 years time? That's achievement. Remember I said you have to have a picture. What will you be doing? That speaks of your assignment. What would you have owned? What will your assets be? How would you be remembered? What will your legacy be? What will your legacy be? And what will your children be doing in the future? It's an interesting thing. If I go back 20 years ago, you know, the things that my children are doing now, those are the things that I plan for them to be doing. When I say the things, I mean, I wanted them to be fully devoted followers of Christ, blah, blah, blah. And we plotted their lives and planned in such a way that, you know, they become those things. Okay. So we also have something called the key result area. This is my own journal, as it were, you know, already marked and everything. Key results. Thank you very much. And then also, you know, this is the most important, the wheel of life. And I talk about 8 different areas of focus, you know, that you need to plan. We're going to be looking at this in the second session right now. Now, we're going to take a short break, before we start the next session. So if you have registered and don't have the link yet, then you need to send an email right away to registrar. It's going to be put on the YouTube. Okay, to registrar at empowermentuniversity.com. Registrar. If you have not booked for the session yet or paid for the session, can someone please put the link, put the email that we just spoke about, and also if they want to pay for this session and buy the journal and be sent the PDF before the journal comes, and or they want to book for the sessions, the next 2 sessions, please show them how they can do so. Okay. So we have the wheel of life, then we have the various goals, health goals, spiritual goals. This is mine. I don't know. The screen is okay. Maybe I should change. Let me change the format of so that it's clearer. Okay. I think it's clearer now. Okay, yeah. So these are my goals, spiritual, health goals, all reaching out, right? And then there are also other bits which are very, very important. Then there are the routine tasks and events. Routine tasks and events, all, you know, there's 7 places to look when thinking strategically. Look upwards, look backwards, look forward, look inward, look outward, look around you, look below. This will help you plan things strategically. Determine how you can plan things strategically. And then there's also, there's a lot. And then there's define the 10 key ingredients that make you unique. Okay, very, very key. And then, you know, discover your impact points. So these are various templates. Thank you so much. And then there's something called the productivity tree. List your strategic mentors. And then in the new, last year's one is not the same as this. I added 2 new templates to it, where one is about finding your focus. I'm going to do a session on this in another couple of weeks, where I'm going to teach you how to find your focus, your productivity zone. The thing that how should you determine what your assignment is? That bottom line, what you should focus your life on. You don't want to miss that. If you're interested in that, let's also. So somebody is asking, how can you pay? Yes, people can still pay, but please, Pastor Ade, can you please put on the YouTube, or whoever can help, how people can pay for the. Is there anybody who has not paid, who has not, and who wants to go on to the next session? Who wants to go on to the next session? Okay, and for all those who register for the next session, there's a new book that has come out by one of my proteges, and it's a very brilliant book. I'm going to, if you register for the session, I'm going to give it to you, get you that book at a subsidized rate, at half the price. If you register for, anyway, you get a deal, and some of you may even get, the book from me for free. So if you want to register, it's been put up there. If anyone has registered, there's an email there. But if you're on here and you want to come for that session now, which we are going to take a break and go on now. The break is so that those who have not registered can quickly do so. Just indicate that yes, just say yes, so that we know. Okay, say yes, and then they will put very quickly. You want to come for the next session, which is a paid session, but it's more intricate. You can just indicate very quickly. God bless you. Any quick questions? I'll just take one or two very quick questions while people are going ahead. Just very quickly. Any quick questions on this session that you've had now, and any other question you want to ask me? Quickly. Any very quick questions? Okay. All right. So, yes. Okay. Thank you. Yes. So, do you have the link now? Do you have the link for the next session, where to register for the next session? And if not, please, the link needs to be put up there. Pastor Ade, is the link, is it the email they're supposed to go to, or is it, are they supposed to go to the Dr. Impact website? All right.
So, Pastor, if they've paid, they should have received an email already. If they want to pay, the link is on the stream, and we'll send the detail out.
So it's on the screen. You said it's on the screen. Is it something
on the
stream?
They should just be able to click on it or copy and paste it.
Is it at the bottom of the? Do they have to come out of the chat to do that?
I wouldn't have thought so. No.
It's okay. So somebody asked, will I be going into detail on how to complete each page? Most of it, it's actually impossible to go. Some of it is they are all different goal setting sessions. So I'm going to be going into, I've done some of them in the past, but I'm going to be going in detail in the parts that have to do with goal setting in particular. The ones that have to do with goal setting in particular. So some of it has to do with finding your purpose. Some of it is determining your routine. The one of determining your routine and tasks for the day, I'm going to go into that on the third session today. So as part for today, we're going to be looking at the ones, that have to do with goal setting and the daily routines and tasks. What time is the next session? Right now, is going to be on what kind of break should we give now?
Pastor, can we start at 4 o'clock? Because a number of people are just registering now.
Okay, we will start at 4 o'clock, which is in 20 minutes time. So that we So it's going to start at 4 o'clock. Yes. Okie doke. So we look forward to seeing you at the other side. Let me say this to you. Many people, they say many are called, but few are chosen. What that means is that many people desire, to be great. Very few people very few people decide to be great, and even fewer people determine to be great. There's a price for greatness. Okay, so we've done this free session as our contribution to everybody. Anybody, but listen to this, there are levels. This is not free. This particular journal is very expensive to produce. I can tell you this much. It actually costs, let me put it this way, more than, why? Because we only produced a few copies. Yeah. We only produce a few copies. It's very expensive to produce. It costs about the minimum 3 times the cost of most books, average cost of most books to produce. Okay, so that's why you say you have the book, you already need to pay. I'm not sure that you have I don't think you have the 2022 edition, but that's okay if you want to do it, with another book, that's fine. Somebody said, I have bought the book, so should I just pay for session 3? Pastor Ade, please, you need to answer that. Somebody has asked, I bought the book, should I just pay for session 3? Another person, how about the link for the PDF for those who have paid for manuals but not received? Okay, if you've paid for manuals, send an email, please. Yes, to that same registrar at Empowerment University, so that the PDF can be sent to you. Okay, Zoe just said you have to send an email. He or she has just received the manual. Okay, I look forward to seeing you on the other side, okay, at 4 p.m. Those of you who can join us, well, God bless you. Thanks for. Somebody said, apart from it being expensive, yes, it is also very detailed. True. Yeah, so apart from the cost of production, it is very detailed. A lot of work has gone into it. So what we want to do is, thank you very much. I'll see you on the other side shortly. There was something I was going to say. Just a second. Very important thing I was going to mention. Okay, for those who are going to watch this later on, yes, because this is going to go on demand. Those of you who are going to watch this later on, you can still join us, yeah, by visiting. Is there a way to put on the screen? Yes, www.pi.impact.com, or you send an email to what is on the screen, and that way, yeah, you can actually join the session that we've done. Although it will not be live, you can still go through your own goal setting session. But I can tell you, those of you who are on here, it's better to come on live, because then it is interactive and you can ask me questions. Somebody say, hopefully they'll be able to get it soon. Paid for the book this morning, but not based in UK. Yes, you can get it. If you are in Lagos, Nigeria, you'll get the book soon. If you are, I think I have a couple, 1 or 2 that can be sent to you. If you're one of the prior people who paid first. All right, see you. There's a 15-minute break now. See you all, those of you who we see on the other side. Look forward to seeing you. God bless you greatly. I hope this session was a blessing to you. Thank you.